Okay, we will go ahead and start without further ado. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this technical webinar from Salvona U. I would like to thank you all for joining us today. My name is Cheyenne. I'm one of the sales administrators here at Salvona. This webinar is the first in a series of events that we're going to be hosting for educational seminars as part of Salvona U. We're going to be launching those probably every 6 weeks or so, so be on the lookout for later dates for the new webinars to come. What else? These webinars are pretty much to give you a better understanding on how these technologies work and how they can be beneficial to your formulations, ultimately helping your customers. Today, we're going to be taking a deep dive into a few of these different technologies that we offer, focusing on skin exfoliation. You will be learning everything from root causes of skin conditions to breakdown of our ingredients, clinical data, and also step-by-step formulation guides on how to incorporate these into your formulations. Our goal is to help you have more of an understanding in how to achieve the maximum efficacy, to get the product to your end user for the desired results. Guiding you today through this webinar will be one of our chief R&D engineers, Mr. John Grasso. He's going to be giving you a thorough look into our technologies. Our chat box is open if you haven't noticed that already. I encourage you to write questions as they may come up throughout the webinar so you don't forget. And we will have an opportunity at the end of the webinar to get to all of those questions. So please utilize the chat box, put those questions in, and we will answer every single one at the end of this. Without further ado, I will turn you over to Mr. John Grasso, who's going to teach you on our technologies.
All right. Thank you, Cheyenne, for the introduction. And thank you, everyone who is here with us. I appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to me today, and I hope that you find it entertaining, informative, and educational. Without further ado, I will share my screen with our presentation on exfoliation and its uses for skincare, specifically for setting up skin rejuvenation. Give me one moment here. I will share my screen. All right. Can everyone see that? Cheyenne, can you guys see that?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. All right, so let's get started. This is Salvona Technologies educational program for skin rejuvenation. This is a photo of one of our facilities. One of our two facilities located in New Jersey in the United States. We've been in business over 25 years. And for those of you who aren't familiar, Salvona is a company that takes functional ingredients for cosmetics and helps them to work better through vehicles of delivery. So we take functional ingredients, well-known ingredients that we will talk about today, and help them to work better. Now, the focus of today's discussion is on exfoliation for skin rejuvenation. At the end of this presentation, you'll be able to use several of our technologies in your formulations. Those are Salsphere Even Skin and Salsphere Severe Acne Relief, two technologies that we will get into in depth, but just to give you a brief overview of them here, Salsphere Even Skin with the product identification number 8894 and Salsphere Severe Acne Relief 8313, and their constituent and respective versions. So to start, talk about skin rejuvenation. What is it? So skin rejuvenation is a process that restores the skin's appearance by improving texture, the tone, and the wrinkles, the elasticity. Some benefits of skin rejuvenation, if anyone needs any sort of idea as to what they may be: reducing fine lines and wrinkles, improving the barrier function of the lipid membrane of the skin, enhancing collagen production for firmness, and brightening and evening the skin tone. So in terms of skin rejuvenation, everyone knows kind of what they want to see from younger and better looking skin. This is just the means by which we achieve that. And to prime the skin for rejuvenation, you must first exfoliate with the top layer of the skin being sort of that hindering factor for skin rejuvenation. So how do we remove that limiting factor? Through exfoliation. Skin exfoliation, this is a cross section of the skin. You can see the uppermost layer, the epidermis, the dermis, and then the subcutaneous tissue. Exfoliation happens at the outermost layer or the epidermis. Throughout the course of our lives, skin cells, dead skin cells build up on the surface of your skin, along with things like debris, dust, pollutants, build up on your skin and kind of create this layer that really keeps the lower layers of the skin from thriving and keeps us from reaching that rejuvenated level. So what we need to do is take this cycle of regeneration of the skin, which is normally around 28 days, and exfoliate the outermost layer to kind of emphasize the layer underneath. As the cells reproduce, they push up from the dermis through the epidermis, and these are kind of younger, more healthy looking cells. By exfoliating the outermost layer of dead skin cells, we can see these healthier, younger cells and give a rejuvenating skin look. So there are a couple ways to exfoliate the skin. You may or may not be familiar with physical exfoliators. Sometimes they're scrubs or things like that. What we're going to focus on is chemical exfoliation. And the method of exfoliation is salicylic acid. Now, I cannot, I'm not sure what you have used, whether it be personally or in formulation, but salicylic acid, to give a brief overview, is a beta hydroxy acid that works to exfoliate the skin. Exfoliation is, again, our #1 step in reaching that rejuvenated and more youthful skin appearance by getting rid of the top layer. And we do that by way of salicylic acid for chemical exfoliation. Now, salicylic acid is a great exfoliating ingredient, but it does not come without challenges. The challenge, it is hydrophobic. Hydro being water and phobic being incompatible. So salicylic acid is not soluble in water. Therefore, it precipitates out of many formulations. And you can see on the left there, a formulation with salicylic acid at a certain loading percentage will fall out of the formulation. And by fall out, we mean crystallize, precipitate, and just not be incorporated, which is not what we want in our products. You obviously want a homogeneous, good final product. Salicylic acid, while effective, is unfortunately difficult to handle. And ideally, we would see something like this incorporated fully and with no precipitation. So how do we overcome this chemical challenge from salicylic acid? We see the chemical challenge previously, as well as the irritation potential. Salicylic acid, as the name not so subtly implies, is an acid. It's a strong acid, and being a strong acid, it has a very low pH. This low pH can disrupt the skin and the skin microbiome, as well as the skin's overall barrier health when released in large doses on the skin through cosmetic products. So when you apply salicylic acid, there's some potential for irritation, for redness, for itchiness, and that's not great in general, but it is especially undesirable if you're dealing with something like acne-prone skin, which is already slightly compromised. You don't want any irritants there. To solubilize salicylic acid, as we mentioned, it is hydrophobic. A lot of times what people will do to solubilize it is they will use harsh surfactants or alcohols. Now, while this may be an effective way to solubilize, this is not beneficial for the skin, as it can cause drying, irritation, and redness. Solubilizing in alcohol, again, on skin that's already somewhat compromised, this is not a desirable solution. And we saw, of course, the salicylic acid is difficult to incorporate. So how do we solve this issue? Where do we go with salicylic acid, an ingredient that we know we want to use, but we're not quite sure how? Well, the answer is SalSphere Even Skin. This is a time-released delivery system, a technology designed to exfoliate the skin. Now, as you recall, exfoliation is the first step in any good skincare routine to reveal the young, rejuvenated skin underneath. SalSphere Even Skin incorporates 30% salicylic acid in a system with no alcohols nor harsh surfactants, and it encapsulates it for delivery to the skin, where it can be most efficacious at exfoliating. See on the left, the raw material is a clear, homogeneous liquid with a sort of amber color, and when diluted to a practical concentration, say in a wash, It takes on a slightly yellow color, but again, it is clear. There's no precipitation, so it takes all the hassle out of formulating. It takes all the hassle out of worrying about working with salicylic acid, as well as points we'll get into in a few moments here, the potential for skin irritation and pH issues. Salsphere, even skin. So here we're going to talk a little bit about the ease of use for formulation. And this is a video showing how to use Salsphere Even Skin in a wash. The benefits of using it in a wash are it is intuitively a rinse off. However, this can be used to exfoliate dead skin from around the body, the face, or the body to rejuvenate and allow that younger, newer skin layer to really thrive. Again, salicylic acid is hydrophobic, so normally incorporating it in a wash would be difficult. Washes are mostly water-based. However, as you will see with Salsphere Even Skin, there's no issue at all incorporating the salicylic acid. And this will be a 2% salicylic acid wash, which is the maximum use limit for cosmetic applications. So that's why we chose 2% salicylic acid.
Cleansing, a perfectly balanced wash that
Okay, are you guys
refreshes,
able to hear
purifies, and
Yep.
cares for your
Sound
skin.
is good.
This wash uses Salsphere Even Skin technology to deliver encapsulated salicylic acid for exfoliation and rejuvenation. This is the inky and composition of the wash containing Salsphere Even Skin. This wash contains 2% salicylic acid. First, add water, the foundation of this formulation. Water ensures a refreshing, lightweight cleanse while keeping the skin balanced. Next, add sodium lauryl sarcosinate, a gentle yet effective cleanser derived from amino acids. It lives away dirt and oil without stripping your skin. Next, add butane, a mild surfactant that enhances foaming and conditioning, making your wash feel soft and luxurious. Next, add sodium benzoate, a clean beauty approved preservative that keeps your formula fresh and safe without the need for harsh additives. Next, add Salsphere Even Skin, encapsulated technology at its finest. This advanced complex helps even skin tone and brighten your complexion over time. Next, add 10% citric acid solution, a natural pH balancer that ensures your skin stays at its optimal level, supporting clarity and a healthy glow. Allow the wash to continue mixing until clear, and then the formulation is completed.
So that was a video highlighting the use of Salsphere Even Skin in a wash or rinse off applications. As you can see, the wash was water-based, and you're able to incorporate the technology under mixing with no homogenization and no special considerations, such as superheating or special solvents. You incorporate it into the water-based wash, and it goes in to give you the 2% salicylic acid for powerful exfoliation at your desired use level. So how does the technology work? The technology is a sub-micron sphere between 0.1 and 0.3 micrometers that contains a hydrophobic core. This hydrophobic core is crucial to the delivery of salicylic acid. And why is it crucial? Well, as we talked about, salicylic acid is hydrophobic. The hydrophobic core allows the salicylic acid to stick to the lipid domains of the skin, where it otherwise may not be able to target or could be washed away from, such as pimples. This hydrophobic core, through lipid-lipid interactions, sticks to these lipid domains and delivers the salicylic acid where it can be most efficacious. The hydrophobic core also helps with the controlled release of salicylic acid over time to avoid that potential for irritation from dumping too much on the skin at once. You can see here the functional ingredients, in this case salicylic acid, are incorporated in the hydrophobic core. And then the core is suspended in formulation using the hydrophilic polymer shell made up of diblock polymers. This allows it to be suspended in a clear formulation, as we saw, and easily incorporated into a final product. So here, this explains the methodology of the technology, as well as how it would help with things like acne. You can see a cross-section of the skin and a hair follicle that is being filled with some comedones or skin clogging ingredients such as oil. When this oil comes out, it creates a pimple and it inflames the pore, as you can see there. This inflammation allows for things like bacteria to thrive in this newly anaerobic environment, or without oxygen in the environment. Without oxygen, these bacteria thrive and they create more of this trouble we see from pimples. They feed off of things like sebum and they create more of this pimple effect, and it's kind of cyclical in that the pore becomes clogged, the environment's anaerobic. Now these bacteria thrive and create more of an issue with acne. Here we can see some issues on the skin, the lesions, and these blue spheres are representative of the Salsphere even skin technology. When the core reaches the lipid domain of the pimple, the salicylic acid sticks to the pimple and begins exfoliating. By exfoliating, we're removing these comedones that are clogging the pores and releasing the accumulation on the skin. Again, we see a targeted delivery to the deeper layers where there is more of a problem, and this allows oxygen to enter the pore. If you recall, the bacteria are anaerobic, meaning they thrive in an oxygen-deprived environment. So by allowing the pore to become unclogged, oxygen enters and dismantles this bacteria, allowing for the pimple to recede and solve the problem at its source. So salicylic acid exfoliates to allow the natural pathway of acne healing to take place. It is an exfoliator that emphasizes and better delivers the natural solution to acne. So an issue with salicylic acid, as we mentioned, is the pH, or the potential for irritation due to a low pH. And we wanted to ensure that this technology would not run into the same issues. So what did we do? We tested the pH of the skin using a Hanna skin pH meter when treated with Salsphere even skin and free salicylic acid, both at 2% salicylic acid. And what we saw was that the free salicylic acid at 2% dropped the pH range out of what is considered healthy for skin. Healthy is between 4.5 and 5.5 generally, which is indicated by that green bar. And immediately after applying the free salicylic acid, we see the skin pH drop to around 4, outside of that healthy range. And it takes the skin a little bit over 6 hours to buffer back up into that healthy skin pH range. This is when we see a high potential for irritation and redness in the skin. With Salsphere even skin, the same amount of salicylic acid, 2%, we see a small drop in pH initially, but it is able to quickly rebound, and all the while it stays within that healthy skin pH range. So this highlights the lessened potential for irritation from Salsphere Even Skin, as well as how it is just better overall for your skin's naturally existing state. Next, we measure skin exfoliation. Exfoliation is the big buzzword here, and we want to see how well does Salsphere Even Skin exfoliate. We used a skin colorimeter, from Courage and Casca to measure exfoliation. So this objective measurement was done by dyeing porcine skin, and the dye is indicative of buildup on the skin. So we want to remove that buildup, and how would we do it? With an exfoliator like salicylic acid. Once the skin is dyed, we take a measurement of the color of the skin, how dark it is. Then we apply the treatments. The treatments would be equivalent salicylic acid percentages coming from Salsphere Even Skin, free salicylic acid, as well as a control containing no treatment, just water. We applied these three, washed them off, and then measured the skin color again, and the decrease in color was indicative of the exfoliation capacity of each tested variable. And what we see here in number 1 is the skin treated with Salsphere Even Skin. You can see it's much lighter than the other 2 tested sections, indicating that Salsphere Even Skin had a higher exfoliation factor than free salicylic acid. Free salicylic acid is in sample 2. You can see some slight exfoliation, but not as targeted and not as convincing as with Salsphere Even Skin. Then you see in number 3, hardly any exfoliation at all from washing with just water. So the water not doing anything, or much of anything rather, shows us that we need an exfoliator, which if you weren't convinced of before, I hope you are now, that you need an exfoliator to get rid of the buildup on the skin. And if you're going to use an exfoliator like salicylic acid, you want to use the best form available, which is encapsulated salicylic acid from Salsphere Even Skin. You can see the exfoliation, and the results really speak for themselves. Quantitatively, we can look at the exfoliation from a rinse-off of salicylic acid from Salsphere Even Skin, the blue bar on the right, and free salicylic acid on the left. You see the exfoliation percentage around 60% for free, and just up at around 75% for the encapsulated salicylic acid. This is about a 25% increase in exfoliation due to the targeting of the salicylic acid to the lipid domains of the skin. Again, this is about 25% better than free salicylic acid, all while being non-irritating and easy to use. Next, we look at the clinical efficacy of Salsphere Even Skin versus an average control. You see the efficacy is around 10 times higher for Salsphere Even Skin than a control, 10 times higher in clinical settings. Now, these numbers may not mean much to you other than indicating the propensity for Salsphere Even Skin to work in a clinical application. So rather than numbers, we'll go a little bit into visuals to show the effect of a even skin treatment. This was after only 7 days of treatment with 6.67% even skin, which equates to 2% salicylic acid to reduce acne. You can see before the redness, the uneven skin, some pimples, some blemishes, and after 7 days of treatment, only 7 days, once daily, we see the exfoliation has worked as we knew it would with Salsphere Even Skin to remove these blemishes, even the skin tone, and exfoliate. We see another example here. Before, some lesions, some uneven skin, and some redness. After only 7 days, with treatment at 2% salicylic acid, we see a more even skin tone, a reduction in the number and intensity of the lesions, and just an overall better and healthier skin appearance. Now, outside of this clinical anti-acne effect, what other benefits would even skin have to offer? And one of those, in the name even skin, is skin smoothing. So to have an even skin, you want a nice smooth base for the skin. And to smooth the skin, we need to look at pore reduction. Larger pores leads to uneven skin and a higher potential for clogging. And we see here the before treatment of a patient before using Salsphere Even Skin. There's a large number of pores, specifically in the circled area on the right, a large number of pores, and their size and volume is also large. Now, this is an uneven skin tone and a higher potential for this clogging that leads to pimples and blemishes. After 4 weeks of treatment with Salsphere Even Skin at 2% salicylic acid, you can see a great reduction in the size and the frequency of these pores showing up on this Antera 3D camera, and this equates to a smoother skin texture. For the pore reduction, some quantitative data, we see the total pore volume was reduced versus the control by 28%, the total pore area reduced by 28%, and the pore count was reduced by just about 20%. So we saw major improvements in all 3 areas of pore reduction, which is again indicative of smoother skin. In terms of skin toning, another benefit of Salsphere Even Skin, 64% of subjects saw an improvement in skin toning, which is skin brightening and whitening, which is a large number in this study. And this is again due to the exfoliating capacity of Salsphere Even Skin. By exfoliating that uppermost layer, you reveal the brighter, younger, newer skin underneath, and this gives us this improvement in skin toning. So Salsphere Even Skin is a solution for evening the skin, for lessening the pores, and a safe, effective, non-irritating solution for blemishes. However, sometimes there is a more diverse need for taking care of the skin, and we call that progressive acne. Now, what is progressive acne? It can be perhaps higher in intensity, maybe even severe. It can be due to a range of different factors like stress, environmental factors, hormonal factors, but progressive acne might need a more multifaceted treatment than salicylic acid alone. Progressive acne can be indicated by things such as blackheads, where the comedones that we talked about become oxidized, and they then darken in color due to this oxidation. Whiteheads, where the comedones actually form a small layer of skin over them and create the pimples that we all see. As well as more severe cases of papules and pustules, in which we see actual pus start to form. There's reddening around the area. It might be irritated to the touch. And these, if left untreated, can actually cause the potential for scarring, which especially on the face is not something to be desired. So to solve this issue, we created Salsphere Severe Acne Relief. Salsphere Severe Acne Relief works in many of the same ways as Salsphere Even Skin, with the added benefit of a synergistic boost of functional ingredients in the core to target all aspects of acne treatment. You see the core with the functional ingredients, the lipid-based core to allow adhesion to the problem areas, as well as the polymeric shell of dye block polymers to allow it to be suspended in formulation. So what are these other functional ingredients in Salsphere Severe Acne Relief? First, of course, we have salicylic acid for the exfoliation and the anti-acne effect. I hope by now its usefulness is well understood. It's a natural ingredient. It's a beta-hydroxy acid that can be derived from the bark of the willow tree, and it is pretty much the gold standard in terms of anti-acne. But when salicylic acid is not enough, we bring in reinforcements like vitamin C, which is an antioxidant that can help brighten the skin tone and overall just nourish the skin. Chamomile extract, which has a soothing effect on the skin. It can soothe irritation and redness that comes from blemishes. And we include this in the severe acne relief treatment so as to create a healthier environment for the skin to heal itself. We also include zinc PCA. Zinc PCA is very effective at regulating sebum. Sebum is the oil that comes from the skin that feeds these anaerobic bacteria, if you recall from the video a short while ago, that thrive in clogged pores. Zinc regulates the sebum so that there is less substance for the bacteria to thrive off of. We also include green tea for its soothing properties for the skin, as well as its ability to lessen reddening and irritation in the skin. We include peptides for their potential to increase collagen. So we talked about the potential for scarring a little bit with some of these more severe acne cases. And this peptide helps support collagen, which can help the skin rebuild itself if you were to encounter things like scarring or severe skin damage from these pimples or lesions. And last but certainly not least is kaolin clay, which is a powerful oil absorber that also helps give the skin a silky smooth feel. So now some test data to show the efficacy of Salsphere Severe Acne Relief. First, we tested the sebum control. Sebum, again, being the oil on the skin that can accumulate and feed these harmful bacteria. Now, this was measured with a sebum meter from Courage and Casca. This is an objective measurement of the skin oil content reduction. So over time, we see the free components of the Salsphere Severe Acne Relief, the ingredients we just listed, were able to reduce the skin sebum by around 2% over time. However, when combined with the smart delivery technology from Salsphere Severe Acne Relief, they reduced it doubly as well at around 4% in oil reduction. And this is clearly advantageous, a double effect in reducing sebum to kind of create that layer of, or rather remove that layer of oil that the bacteria may feed off of. Now, something you might be thinking is, well, if we're removing the oil, does that mean the skin is still healthy? Oil is not always a bad thing on the skin. It helps to moisturize the skin and maintain the skin barrier. So in order to show that Salsphere Severe Acne Relief does not compromise the skin barrier, we measured the moisturization compared to free salicylic acid. And as you can see, there's a significantly higher moisturization over time from Salsphere Severe Acne Relief versus free salicylic acid. So not only do we decrease the amount of sebum on the skin, we also increase or maintain more of the moisturization compared to free salicylic acid. So you're kind of getting both effects, right? You're getting all of the benefits for anti-acne, for anti-inflammatory, for anti-redness, non-irritating, as well as the higher moisturization and sebum reduction. So here we're going to jump back into Salsphere Even Skin to show you another formulation with the Salsphere Even Skin technology for use in a leave-on and rinse-off. Now, this is a mask containing 2% salicylic acid, and this mask can be used, again, leave-on, and then you rinse it off. What's unique about this is that we include a second technology, Sal Color FX, white to black, which is an innovative technology that actually changes color when you apply it. This is a multifaceted benefit. You're able to see when the salicylic acid is released on the skin, as well as make sure you've covered all the areas you want to cover when applying the mask. So we'll take a look at this video and see how we formulate this mask with Salsphere Even Skin.
Welcome to the formulation of our advanced Salsphere Even Skin Mask, designed to enhance your skin's texture, clarity, and resilience. Today, we're going to take you through the process, showing how each ingredient contributes to the magic of this mask. These are the ingredients required for the Salsphere Even Skin Mask. This is the mixer setup required for the Salsphere Even Skin Mask. This table shows the INCI and weight percentages of the ingredients required to make the Salsphere Even Skin Mask. We start with water, the foundation of the formula. This high-quality water ensures a clean, hydrating base for our mask. Next, we premix hydroxypropyl guar and glycerin to ensure a homogeneous addition to our water phase. We then add the gum and glycerin mixture to help thicken the mask and give it a smooth, luxurious texture. Next, we blend in kaolin clay. We then add bentonite clay. These two clay-based ingredients provide excellent oil absorption and gentle exfoliation. While the water phase is mixing and heating to temperature around 65 to 70 degrees Celsius, we begin addition to the oil phase. Start by adding glyceryl stearate and PG100 stearate to a separate vessel and begin heating the oil phase to 65 to 70 degrees Celsius. This ingredient will help with emulsification. We add caprylic capric triglyceride to enhance skin moisturization. Additionally, cetyl alcohol adds to the creamy texture and provides moisture-locking properties, ensuring your skin feels hydrated and nourished. To stabilize the emulsion and improve the consistency of the mask, we add stearic acid. This ingredient enhances the texture, prevents separation, and ensures the formula stays intact, even during use. When the oil phase is homogeneous and at temperature, stop mixing and prepare for addition to the water phase. Add oil phase to water phase under mixing when both phases are at temp. After oil to water addition, stop heating and allow the vessel to cool to around 40 degrees Celsius. Now, the real magic happens with the addition of our active ingredient Salsphere Even Skin, an encapsulated form of salicylic acid. This delivers a powerful yet gentle exfoliation, improving skin texture and helping to clear pores for smoother, blemish-free skin. It works over time to refine the skin surface and enhance clarity. Now we can introduce the preservative to the mask. This will extend the shelf life. We will now slow the mixing to a gentle speed and add the Cell Color Effects beads to the mask. This will offer visual stimulation when applying the mask and let the color change from white to black after applying. Be sure to gently mix these beads so as to not rupture them during addition. When the mixture is fully homogeneous, the mask is complete. To use this mask, simply apply a thin layer, rub it in, and enjoy refreshed, smoother, and healthier looking skin. Notice the color change from white to black upon rubbing. Are you ready to experience the power of encapsulated salicylic acid for yourself?
Again, we see the color change there at the end from the Sal Color FX, the white to black, which is a really exciting ingredient for many uses in skincare. And in addition to this mask, we have multiple formulations that will be made available to you after this presentation. The last video I wanted to show, however, is of a carbomer gel with Salsphere Even Skin. Carbomer is a widely used rheology modifier, gelling agent that is pH dependent, and we wanted to show how you can use this carbomer with Salsphere Even Skin to create a gel.
Today, we'll be demonstrating the formulation of a carbomer gel with Salsphere Even Skin. This gel combines key ingredients to create a smooth and stable product. Let's walk through the process and the role of each component. This is the inky and weight compositions of the ingredients for this gel. We begin with water, which serves as the base of our formulation. Next, we introduce the carbomer. polymer that functions as a gelling agent. When dispersed in water and adjusted to the correct pH, this carbomer forms a viscous gel, giving our formulation its desired texture and stability. Here, we add this probe to monitor the pH. To enhance ingredient compatibility, we predisperse polysorbate 20, an anionic surfactant, with Salvona even skin. This improves overall formulation stability, ensuring a uniform, smooth gel. Now, we add the predispersed Salvona even skin, an encapsulated salicylic acid delivery system designed to promote even skin tone. This innovative technology ensures a controlled release of active ingredients, maximizing efficacy and skin benefits. Notice the pH on the meter. Finally, we adjust the pH using a 10% sodium hydroxide solution. This step is crucial, as neutralizing the carbomer causes the gel to thicken and reach its optimal consistency. And there you have it, a well-balanced carbomer gel, carefully formulated for stability and performance. This process highlights the importance of each ingredient in creating a high-quality skincare product. Here we present the specifications of this gel containing Salvona even skin.
So that was just an example of a carbomer gel with Salvona even skin. Again, we have more videos for more products, but I just wanted to give an overview of the ability of the technologies, as well as how you can use them in your formulations, easily incorporated to work for you. So some examples of companies that are using the Salvona even skin, such as American Made Skincare, in a clarifying cleanser that tones, smooths, and purifies, as well as a smoothing serum. These are widely used technologies. They are very useful, as I hope I've demonstrated. And they allow you to work with the functional ingredients that you need to work with, as well as get the results that your customers desire in an easy and non-irritating way. To summarize, we have the Salvona technology that enables us to encapsulate salicylic acid for ease of use. These particles, these technology submicron spheres, adhere to the skin in a targeted manner to gradually release the salicylic acid to reduce negative side effects. And these products are to smooth the skin, reduce acne, reduce oily skin, reduce scarring, tone the skin, and they ultimately serve as the first step in a skincare routine to rejuvenate the skin by exfoliating and preparing it for anti-aging functional ingredients. Here is our contact info for Salvona. I thank all of you for listening to me today. I hope you found this educational and entertaining, and please feel free to reach out to me with any questions regarding the technologies. My email is at the top there, jgrasso@salvona.com, and I'd be happy to help you figure out how Salvona even skin and Salvona severe acne relief can work in your formulations. I'm confident that they will, and I'm confident in my ability to help you with any questions you may have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, John, for that very thorough, in-depth presentation. The chat box is open. I encourage you guys to send your questions in the chat. We have a couple already that we're gonna try to get through. If you guys think of any as we're discussing, please feel free to reach out. I know we don't have the ability to do a live one-to-one conversation, so please use the chat box. Okay. First question, can you explain the difference between solubilizing and encapsulation?
Yeah. So for salicylic acid, if you weren't familiar with it before, I hope you are now. Some people can solubilize it to make it work in their formulations, and that is, of course, different than encapsulation. However, to solubilize salicylic acid, a couple of things have to be true, because what will also remain true is the hydrophobic nature. And unfortunately, with chemistry, that doesn't change. So to solubilize the salicylic acid, you would need to use something like harsh surfactants or alcohols, which we talked about is useful for solubilizing, but not beneficial to the skin. Otherwise, you would have to use derivatives of salicylic acid, things like capryl oil, salicylic acid, or salicylic acid salts, such as sodium salicylate, which are not as effective for exfoliating the skin as pure salicylic acid. So that would be solubilizing. Versus encapsulation, we take the salicylic acid in the form that it's in and encapsulate it for introduction to formulation in that raw form without changing it. By encapsulating, we are able to deliver it to the skin and protect it from things like precipitation.
Okay, great, thank you. Next question, how long does it take to see results with the Salsphere Even Skin?
So with the Salsphere Even Skin, we saw some examples in this presentation from 30 days for the pore reduction. This was before and after 30 days. But we also saw in the clinical, the visuals of the foreheads, if you recall, those were after only 7 days of daily use. So it depends on the dosage of salicylic acid. These were all at 2% dosages. But the results, they'll vary naturally person to person, but we saw results in anti-acne in as little as 7 days.
Okay, great. Is Salsphere Even Skin compatible with clean beauty formulations and global compliance?
Yes, Salsphere Even Skin is Sephora clean. And we have all the regulatory documents available. They can be made available to you for the specific requirements that you're looking for. If you send Cheyenne or myself an email, we can get you those documents to make sure it checks all the boxes for your regulatory needs.
Great, thank you. Another one, could we make a transparent serum with Salsphere Severe Acne Relief?
That's a good question. Interestingly enough, the video that I skipped over was for a serum with the technology, so perhaps that might have been beneficial to show. But we have that video for formulation. As far as transparent serum, yes, you should be able to incorporate severe acne relief in a transparent serum. It may be the use level might have to be determined empirically, how much you want to use, how much salicylic acid you want to get in your serum. But yes, you should be able to formulate a transparent serum with severe acne relief.
Okay. Next question, can we use the Salsphere Even Skin and the Severe Acne Relief for a soap bar pH of 9 to 11?
That's a good question. Soap bars are, as you know, alkaline, between 9 and 11 pH. So in this case, using salicylic acid is difficult, right? Because of the salicylic acid's low pH. In terms of use in a soap bar, you could certainly try to incorporate the Even Skin and the Severe Acne Relief. For soap bars, we also have a technology called multi-sal salicylic acid that I think may be of interest to you for soap bars. It's a powder form of encapsulated salicylic acid that I think might be best for your soap bar applications. So definitely reach out to myself or Cheyenne about this multi-sal salicylic acid for the soap bar, as well as Salsphere Even Skin.
Great questions. Could you please explain more about how the Salsphere Even Skin targets delivery to areas with lipase enzyme activity?
Yeah, so the targeted delivery is from the core of the Salsphere Even Skin, the lipid core. The lipid core is going to be made of ceramides, and these ceramides help, being lipids, help to target the lipid areas of the skin. As you saw in the short animation, the lipid areas can be things like pimples or sebum. And due to these hydrophobic interactions, these lipid-lipid interactions, like attracts like. So hydrophilic materials are going to want to mix in hydrophilic or stick to hydrophilic. Hydrophobic is going to want to stick to hydrophobic. And so this hydrophobic core with the salicylic acid sticks to the hydrophobic areas of the skin, such as pimples and sebum or lipid domains, where it then releases the salicylic acid.
Okay, very good. Does Salsbury Even Skin require the addition of an antioxidant to prevent discoloration in the formulation, like in a toner? Additionally, would it be advisable to avoid using clear bottles to minimize the issue?
So for an antioxidant for Salsbury Even Skin, no, you shouldn't need an antioxidant to prevent discoloration. You could see the color of the raw material. It was sort of an amber color, as well as the wash when diluted to a practical concentration. It was sort of a lightly tinted yellow. But as far as discoloration, like changing color over time, no, you shouldn't need an antioxidant for that.
Okay, last question I see here. Is Salsbury Even Skin suitable for all skin types?
Yeah, we talked about the potential for non-irritation, or rather the low irritation potential due to the changes in the skin pH. We see very little change in skin pH, and we've conducted repeated insult patch testing or RIP testing to show the skin safety of Salsbury Even Skin, and it showed no potential for irritation. So it's suitable for all skin types, for sensitive skin, and everything like that.
Okay, great. Oh, it looks like we got one more. Can these ingredients be combined with other active ingredients like vitamin C for brightening?
Yeah, absolutely. I love these questions. These are great, and please feel free to ask as many as you have. You can absolutely incorporate these with other ingredients, other functional ingredients. Actually, with the severe acne relief, we include vitamin C in that formulation for this skin brightening. So you can absolutely include other functional ingredients with these technologies, as well as if you look at Salvona's website, we have many different technologies, dozens of technologies for different effects. You can combine the technologies as well, like we saw in the mask with Salsphere Even Skin and Sal Color FX, to get a multifaceted effect from the technologies. So absolutely, they can be combined.
This one says, can it reduce inflammation within 12 hours?
So within 12 hours is going to be a little bit hard to show for reducing inflammation. The data that we have was within 7 days for inflammatory lesions. You can certainly test and see whether or not it's able to reduce within 12 hours. The data that we have short term, or rather within, a day, is showing the skin moisture, the skin pH, the sebum control, and things like that. As far as inflammation, I would definitely say try it and see if you can see this result in 12 hours. But we know that we see it after the 7 days of use.
Okay, great. Any more questions, anyone, before we conclude? If not, all of this information will be able to be sent to you or accessed on our website. So please feel free to reach out to myself or John or your local distributor. They have our contact information. We're happy to send you the POVs, any samples you might need, any regulatory documents. So we can also upload the videos, the formulation guide that John was showing on how to incorporate these into your formulations. They will be posted on the website probably in the next couple of days. So stay tuned for that next week. It looks like we have one more question. Are there any ingredients that should be avoided when formulating with Salsbury Even Skin? especially if there are any components that could destabilize the formulation or cause the encapsulation to break?
That's a really good question. In terms of ingredients to avoid, there are none that come to mind to ruin the integrity of the encapsulation. Now, in the formulation videos, we see that it's added at the end of formulation, usually at or below around 40 degrees, and mixed in under just general vortex or prop mixing. So when using the encapsulation, we generally recommend avoiding things like excessive heat. But in terms of specific ingredients, compromising the encapsulation, that should not be an issue. Some things to consider would be just with any salicylic acid, as you exfoliate the skin, similar to other skin exfoliating ingredients, you might not want to include too much. There is a use limit on salicylic acid. So say you were to use a higher use level, that could cause a potential for irritation higher than, what is generally accepted. But other than that, no ingredients should interfere with the encapsulation.
Okay, we got another one that came in. What concentration could the Salvona Even Skin for formulation of anti-aging facial products could you use, for Salvona Even Skin formulation for anti-aging facial products?
Sure. So for anti-aging, you want to look at things first and foremost like exfoliation, like we talked about, to get those kind of lower levels of the skin more exposed. And for that, we used Salvona Even Skin at 6.67%, which is respective to a 2% salicylic acid load. Salvona Even Skin is 30% salicylic acid as a raw material. So by using 6.67%, we get that 2% salicylic acid. But for anti-aging, especially if you were going to combine it with something like some of our other technologies like Salvona Natural Anti-Aging or Hydrosal Youth, you may be able to even incorporate it at around 0.5% salicylic acid and incorporate things like the Hydrosal Youth at 1 to 2% to get really a whole approach to this anti-aging.
Very good suggestion. Okay, I think that about sums it up. Thank you all so much for attending. If you have any questions, concerns, documents, again, anything, please feel free to reach out to us or your local distributor, and we will be happy to respond and get you what you need. Thank you so much, and I wish you guys a beautiful day. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, everyone.